Welcome to Focus on Liberia. I am the West African correspondent, Amara. Welcome to this all-important news where we give you updates of the latest development in Africa, and sometimes we also dive into things that happen in the world and that have an implication on Africa. What Africa is so important to ourselves, important to the world, and important to almost everything that is happening around our persons. And because of certain circumstances, we have been seeing that what happens into other parts of the continent or on Earth or into other continents have a very severe implication on our persons, on the continent, on the dispensation of our justice, in the way we maybe take care of our democracy and all of those things. So I think we should actually maybe manage our emotions and see what Africa can bring to the table and how can we handle things that affect our persons. When you watch at Africa, maybe you start to wonder, are we united as a nation? Because some people even tell you that Africa is a nation. Of course it is, because we are colored by a single race. And at the same time, we have things that affect the way we dispense our justice, with the way we handle other implications, how things come our way, and we found it so difficult even how to escape what affects other nations. Maybe it's because we have definitely not been independent, and our mentality of handling our issues have not been deleted from what the West dictate to us. And there are times we even watch why do we elect leaders, and what is the purpose of us conducting election? Why should Africa always maybe have other presentations in a way that it affects? Maybe we don't do anything on our own. We don't say things and they happen. We always rely on what the West tell us, and normally when the West say this, we honor it, and we even have certain things that we have to consult the West, and the West tell us things that do not favor our persons, and they normally maybe tell us things that will benefit their own economy, their own freedom, the way they handle their own affairs, and sometimes we even see we have imposing culture on us. So most of these things, sometimes we start to wonder, do we elect leaders to act as on the dictate of the West, or do we elect leaders to handle our own affairs the African way? Today, we are now seeing different movements on the continent, and we see that our leaders, maybe they take the dictation of the West so important so that they can even find other means not to maybe solve our solutions the African way. Why do you think the entire Europe is not attacking Russia just because Russia have taken on Ukraine? And why is the West forcing Africa to take on Niger, especially West Africa, just because they have uranium interests? So sometimes we need to think, if they have vilified the military regime, I do agree, I do not support any military takeover into any country, but it's taking over Niger militarily. We help solve the situation into Niger. No, it will only compound and create more problem for Africa. If it were not so, why they did not take up Russia? Why when Russia attacked Ukraine, they would have come there? Because it's another overthrown. By virtue of fact, Russia met Ukraine steering out in affairs independently. They came and attacked Ukraine, and now they have created huge havoc for the entire world, not only Europe. But we did not see the West attacking Russia militarily. What they are doing, they are supporting Ukraine with some arms and ammunition, and also helping the West to sell most of those arms, especially America, most of those arms and ammunition that they manufactured some decades ago. They are now selling it, and Russia has been vilified. But my point of argument here is that if they are forcing Ecowas to take on Niger militarily to restore a democracy, fantastic, very good. But why they did not also attack Russia, since Russia is trying to unseat a sitting elected government? Why they didn't? We need to be very careful, and I think our leaders need to be brought back to book and maybe let them actually be schooled and see what they can do. Let's see. Abdul Salami Abubakar, the former military leader or the last military ruler of Nigeria, is saying one of the last military leaders, because the last one was Sani Abacha anyway. He's saying that simple, all options remain open, but still Ecowas is interested in negotiating. And based on his last visit into Niamey, he thinks and feels that they still have an option. But the military guys have come out, the junta boys, they have categorically stated that they will only hand over power in 3 years, after they may have solidified the place with peace, maybe look for sanity, and install a president whom they think can definitely start Niger to a very beautiful democracy, and that will be free and maybe enviable in the public. But Ecowas is saying, no, we are going to attack. They are even saying that it's an ultimatum. Either they release Bazoum, install him into power, or they will attack. And the military is saying, no, we are not going to release Bazoum. He's going to be charged, in fact, with a treasonable act, high felony offense, because he's instigating the West to take on the democratic or the military regime, which is seen as an unpatriotic act, and it's been seen as somebody is conniving with the West to create commotion into Niger when the country is unarguably peaceful, according to their saying, because since they took over, we have not seen any political disturbance into the country. And what is striking is that people, Nigerians, are even registering voluntarily to take on any Ecowas troop that may attack them. Those guys attack, you have support. Of course, Chad is not supporting the move, although it did not say it is going to attack. But Guinea did not support the move. So all of those things are there. And we are now seeing economic hardship. Ghanaians are demonstrating against their old sitting government that because of it, onions are becoming so high in the price. And people in the south, northwest, and south-south belt into Nigeria are even calling upon their government not to attack, because they know that most of those Nigerians are also Hausa planning, so are staying into Nigeria, and most Nigerians are also part of that. And when you see they display people into Nigeria, most of them found themselves into Niger. So should Nigeria lead that particular force to attack with the gullible mentality of President Ouattara, who is staying into Ivory Coast? Of course, I can understand his mentality, because he was one of the few people who violated the constitution, installed himself into power. So if you see me, if he thinks and feel that movement like that can easily unseat him, he also want to maybe create huge commotion. And these guys are all, mind you, they are all in their 80s. They are all in their 80s. I think young people should think vibrantly, and that particular war should not go on. It's a dastardly act. Of course, we come to Zimbabwe in the southern part of Africa. Zimbabwe elections were held. Elections have been held today. Massive turnout in the country general election. Nancy Chamisa, who is the Citizen Coalition for Change, formed maybe out of the movement for democratic change that was led by Morgan Tangara, who lost his life. It's challenging Emerson Mnangagwa, popularly known as what, the crocodile, for the presidential position into Zimbabwe. I think the ruling ZANU-PF party has led Zimbabwe over the past 43 years, and Emerson thinks and feels that without him, maybe Zimbabwe cannot be united, and the West will definitely polarize it with different type of mentality. Emerson also claims that he's going to win the election hands down. But today there were delays around 8 hours, especially in political stronghold like Harare, the capital city of Zimbabwe, where you have urbanized, sophisticated, and well-educated, exposed youth who are willing to change. But if you go in places like Matabeleland, also they are also against maybe Emerson Mnangagwa. He led the kind of mutilation or decapitation mission or errand by under the command of Robert Gabriel Mugabe. We are over 200 people who we are actually allegedly killed by the Emerson mentality. But apart from that, people in other provinces into Zimbabwe actually are supporting him because of the land grabbing system that he turned out. But here you have classical youth, well-educated, well-exposed with urbanized mentality. Maybe they do not think and feel that Zimbabwe should be continued led by the so-called Emerson Mnangagwa and his regime. Okay, we're also coming to DRC Congo. In DRC Congo, EU launches what? That is the European Union launches maybe kind of food, maybe taking millions of thousands of tons of food to millions of people in the Goma region of DRC Congo, where he is having the Janjaweed militia, the M23 rebels, and other fighting against the government, and thousands of people into that particular region are fear of facing famine and also other dire maybe diseases that may cause huge implications on them. So the EU and the UN are really trying to see how they can step into this situation so that the bulk number of this population cannot face starving, and also they can also face the high raft of diseases, since both humanitarians and also other aid we are under attack, and their medical facilities are definitely not working. Schooling, all social setup is definitely disrupted. So now they are airlifting humanitarian aid to ensure that it reach people in the Goma region of DRC Congo, so that they can say they can. Africa all over the world is so disturbed, and when you think about these things, you think that we are moving anywhere. So we also take another story. Controversial Idi Amin lecture to continue in Uganda. Idi Amin actually is being vilified. He's seen as one of the notorious, maybe dictators on the continent. And I think, and I feel that he seen as one of the dictators that destroy the very democracy of Uganda. Some people even call him a cannibal, and we can also see there is a Hollywood movie. I think was this actually 2009, the last king of Scotland vilified him. So we are seeing all of those things. So people are even saying that no, Idi Amin fought for independence in South Africa, for the independence of South Africa, independence of the Angolans, people like Mozambique. He was a staunch supporter of democracy, and he also fought for the independence of Uganda. He was not that all evil as people have, the Western culture, people have pictured him, and Western media. They are saying that no, there are certain good things that Idi Amin did that people need to actually know about these things. So they are saying that that particular lecture will definitely take place on the 1st of September 2023. And they are also urging the Ugandan government not to disturb the process. We all know how Idi Amin was vilified, and we have seen, although people like us, we are not alive when he was actually leading Uganda, but based on those movies that we have watched, history that we have read about this person, I think he was a controversial and unpredictable figure. Some people call him a cannibal. He did a lot of things, and people tell you that maybe he also helped to drive away the white minority leading Uganda for one or two reasons. They control key sectors, but you can see also Indian community, China, whatsoever community into Uganda. But he did a lot, and people are saying that lectures need to be heard, public lectures need to be heard for him, and maybe so that he, Idi Amin, should actually have some other things to be doing. That is what they claim, and that is what they want to happen. But I think Uganda need to change the narrative of what Idi Amin did, and I believe no matter how evil he was, he might have done some things or things that were actually good, and they need to turn the other part of history for them to know all of these things. That is why they are saying Hassan, who was leading the lecture, is insisting that the public lecture will definitely go on. Then let's come to the fifth story. BRICS growing influence will change global structure, says Putin. Controversially, Prigozhin, the man who in June made an attempt to take on Moscow and overthrow Putin when he was met by President Lukashenko of Belarus. Negotiations were held and he withdrew his troops, went with them into Belarus. Later on, some people were saying that Prigozhin was seen in St. Petersburg. Others claimed that he was in Africa. And his news became so controversial. Putin was forced to negotiate with him. In loyalty, he was given his freedom. But still people were saying that Prigozhin is a walking dead man. Because we all see what Alexei Navalny is suffering. How he was poisoned on a plane en route to Germany. After he got healed in Berlin, he still decided to come back. He's under detention. In fact, he's under prison, serving prison time. Because according to them, he crossed bail. Today, he has lost his life. Prigozhin in Moscow. And allegations have been made that the private plane that crashed in Moscow was being sponsored by the Vladimir Putin regime. And you cannot confront Putin in Russia and still keep being alive. He was like a walking dead. This has been so much implication on Africa. And he has huge troops into Africa in places like Northern Sudan, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Central African Republic, and other places. Now he's dead. Who is going to take over those regimes? Will Russia continue supporting them? Who is going to take over his wealth? And how will the Wagner group survive? Those African leaders who had his support, today is being swept away. You cannot challenge Putin and go cut-free. If you challenge him, it is very difficult for you to go cut-free. We have seen how he has done a lot of clandestine things. And people are saying secret agent of Russia manipulated the crash of the plane. Now Prigozhin is no longer alive today. Why now? Now, the BRICS exit is, the BRICS meeting is what? Being conducted in South Africa is being conducted among 5 countries. We have Brazil, you have Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Of course, Vladimir Putin was saying that he's going to attend, but he did not. We all hear what Volodymyr Zelensky was crying that he shouldn't go. When he goes into South Africa, he should be arrested. And Putin ended up sending his foreign minister. So people are saying that maybe people are claiming, like the president of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who succeeded Rose Bolsonaro in a very controversial election, is claiming that the BRICS meeting in South Africa should not be seen as a direct replacement for the G7 and D20. However, Xi Jinping of China defy a bit, and Russia is also claiming that they need to stamp into the face of the West and create something that will be unique. That is what we are saying. Of course, Cyril Ramaphosa is the chair of the meeting in South Africa. We are seeing all of this controversial move, and the president of China failed to appear into the meeting today. People were even claiming that maybe he fell sick, but he took to media and said that maybe the BRICS meeting in South Africa should be seen as what Brazil, Asia, and Africa summit should be seen like a direct move to challenge the G7 and G20 mentality. Too much of controversies are coming out of the meeting. Places like Algeria, Angola are also wishing to join it. Should it become successful? We are also seeing, lastly, Prigozhin is dead. So all of those controversial issues, I think Moscow have denied having hand into it, but America is saying that Russia is responsible, especially Vladimir Putin. We are yet to see maybe possible response from the supporters of Prigozhin, especially his military bases into Africa. We don't know how these people will definitely survive. Finally, ICC hearing for car war crimes suspect underway. Maybe Maximum Mancun supported the killing of Christians or people, civilians who did not support his anti-Balaka movement. He is being arrested, being tried into the Hague. He's been tried. If found guilty, he'll be sent to life in prison. And we all see why Francois Bouzizi is the main facilitator of the war within the Balaka and the anti-Balaka movement. Since that controversial loss of power, Bouzizi does not want to be seen out of the political frame of South of Central Africa. And Central Africa controversially is hosting huge amount of the Wagner groups, and those people who maybe claim that they are business people but under doing mining and they have a private military to support and mind their business. Their leader is definitely been killed, and we do not know what his home into St. Petersburg will await his family, all of these things. We